Hello everyone, I am Jessica Delmar. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are well and taking care of yourself. In this episode, we are going to be doing part 2 of the information regarding the Merkaba star. So we posted part 1 a couple of weeks ago. I'll put a link in the notes to that episode. But basically this information about this sort of sacred geometric field was coming through and our connection to this Merkaba field. So our physical form is encompassed within a greater Merkaba, although we have so-called smaller Merkabas within our energetic field. But this information sort of tapped me into this larger perspective of what these Merkabas really are and how we're connected to this greater field. And what had come through is we exist, this quantum field that we exist within in order to perceive a physical reality consists of sacred geometry. For example, online programs exist with the ones and the zeros. It's kind of the same way with this greater reality that we perceive and we create within a physical experience. And then once we break out of this illusion, then we move into the next layer of whether it's another illusion or not. It's just breaking out of this illusionary experience. And so as we move into 5D, we're moving into a new layer, a new illusionary layer, if you will. But the way that we perceive illusion is going to be in a much more higher vibrational way than we perceived our reality in 3D. Because we're still within a quantum field to create an illusionary experience, an illusionary reality per se, because we're still in a physical form and experience. Creating our reality in this form. So as we move into 5D, we move into a higher vibrational quantum field. So it's much like a kaleidoscope where the kaleidoscope field in 3D shifts from one kaleidoscope image, if you will, into a new one as you turn the dial. And this new kaleidoscope field very much is showing me all of the whole Merkaba fields. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put an illustration on the screen so you can follow along in terms of what I'm talking about. If not, I'm going to post it over on my website at jessicadelmar.com/podcast. I'll post all of the illustrations there for you to look at and download if you want. So the reason why I was being shown this Merkaba star quantum geometric field is because the way that we are receiving energy is shifting tremendously. We spoke about in part 1 how the way that we receive life force energy or nourishment from higher vibrations is shifting from our umbilical cord into our pineal gland. So basically a new portal or doorway is being opened within the pineal gland to receive higher frequency light, to open light within the body and nourish the body with that higher vibrational light through the pineal gland. This connects us more within our mind space. It connects our mind not to a lower vibrational 3D mind of ego, but it connects our mind to a higher vibrational place more in alignment with our divine inner being or the source mind. At the same time, we still have our umbilical cords, which open a very powerful connection to our physical earth plane, because we still are existing on a physical earth planet in 5D. We're just simply shifting vibrational space. We're shifting dimension, if you will. So the way that we tether into a physical reality is shifting, much like a kaleidoscope image shifts when you turn the kaleidoscope. And so even though in 5D we're no longer plugged into the collective energy in terms of receiving nourishment and life force energy, which created karma and all of that stuff, that sort of plug is unplugged from the collective energy and is newly opened within the pineal gland. But let's focus back into the sacral umbilical cord area. we still receive powerful, non-physical energy through the umbilical cord, because again, this is what connects us to this earth experience. Not only that, but it still continues to connect us to our collective energy. However, we're shifting into a new collective energy. It connects us to this web, this geometric field, if you will, that holds us here in this physical experience, but also connects all within the physical experience together. So this is why we're still plugged into that collective mind, the collective energy. But in moving into 5D, we're now connected to a higher vibrational collective mind and energy through the umbilical cord. And this is the Merkaba star quantum geometric field that was shown to me. What came through is that in 3D, our quantum geometric field or web was more like the 5-pointed star. And now that we're moving into 5D, the kaleidoscope shifts and it moves into a more Merkaba star representation, more dimensional, whereas the 3D 5-pointed star was very flat. It's kind of like seeing a 2D shape on paper versus a 3D shape in real life type of thing. But this Merkaba star quantum geometric field that we are moving into connects us through our umbilical cord, our sacral, into this new collective energetic mind that holds our physical creative experience together in a 5D reality. The information in this video really wanted to bring our attention to the umbilical cord, sacral center, and our shifting into this new creative web, this new quantum geometric field that we are creating within in 5D, which is more grounding energy. It grounds us and anchors us into a 5D New Earth experience, so that we're here and now without needing to transition before then being reborn into 5D, but we can anchor our physical forms here while we're going through this powerful transition between 3D and 5D. There are a lot of people who will not be able to anchor the physical form into right here, right now during these shifting times, because the energy going on, the energy stirring is so powerful that the physical form in its desire to shift cannot necessarily anchor if the physical form is not able to integrate and hold on to the massive amounts of light that is entering the body at this time. For a lot of people, it's much too powerful, and so they will go through the process of transitioning first before being reborn into 5D, if that's what their soul chooses. So this episode and information is very much an activation to help you to anchor your physical form in the here and now during all of these energetic changes. What came through with this information is very much how to utilize this Merkaba field, this Merkaba kaleidoscope field, if you will, to bring in and receive more of that light energy without resistance. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to share a practice that came through to help harness the energy of this Merkaba field that we are transitioning into. So again, if you have not yet listened to part 1, go ahead and listen to part 1 first, and I'm just going to take off from where we left off in part 1. Everything came through in writing first, so I'm just going to read what came through. So with all the information that came through in part 1, I wanted to know, how does all this information about the umbilical cord energy and moving into the pineal cord, how does this all connect to the Star of Merkaba information that was coming through? And what came through is a vision of the Star of Merkaba. I'll put an illustration on the YouTube video. If not, go to my website and you can look at it. And how that connects to the umbilical cord energy as the Merkaba center. So basically, if we think of our physical form as being encompassed, exactly overlaid, if you will, within a Merkaba, the center of the Merkaba will be our umbilical cord center, the sacral center. And this is a little bit different. There's a lot of different layers of energy. So of course there's a heart center and there's a solar plexus center, but this information is in particular, again, it's like all the different kaleidoscope shifts of energy that you can tune into. So this is just one channel of many different channels, showing me the sacral as the center, connected to the field, or connected to its field. So if you think of all the centers, for example, the heart center, that's connected to a whole new kaleidoscope field, if you will. The solar plexus center, or the flower of light center, connected to its own kaleidoscope field, and then the sacral center connected to its own kaleidoscope field. So we're tapping into specifically what was wanting to come through at this time was tapping into the sacral kaleidoscope field, which is connected to this Merkaba field. However, keep in mind that even though the kaleidoscope can change into many different shapes and forms, for example, connected to the different centers, there is a sort of web of energy that is constant throughout all the different kaleidoscope shapes and forms that it can take. And what's coming through right now is the flower of life. So it's possible that the flower of life is that sort of backdrop, the web that goes through the different kaleidoscope fields. But again, there's always that constant web of energy that connects everything, even though the kaleidoscope field may change. And so that vision of having the Star of Merkaba, having the sacral be the center of the Star of Merkaba, and have that also connect to the umbilical cord energy, what came through is yes, because the umbilical cord connects to the physical, and the Star of Merkaba connects to the physical. And I asked, what does that mean? What came through is the Star of Merkaba connects to the physical because it was created through the physical lens. The Merkaba is a representation of the physical and non-physical, duality and non-duality, but also the separation within the duality, such as dark and light and masculine and feminine. It's two pyramid shapes, I want to say, in one to create that Merkaba shape. And the Merkaba holds energy of duality, not energy of oneness. But the Merkaba still serves a powerful purpose in the physical. It is the gateway between physical and higher vibrational physical, meaning lower vibrational 3D does not utilize the Merkaba points shown to you, in other words, shown to me in this illustration that I created where the body is within the Merkaba in 3D. That physical form does not necessarily tap into those Merkaba points because the energy, the kaleidoscope field of this Merkaba field that's being spoken about here exists in a different vibrational field than 3D. So the 3D physical form taps into a different kaleidoscope field. So it doesn't necessarily have access to this Merkaba field that the higher vibrational physical form has access to during this transformative shifting time. Only when you shift into a higher vibration, the Merkaba points are made available for you to harness their energy. A higher vibrational form in a lower vibrational reality, such as 3D, does not conduct well. In the past, when a person and their physical form would attain higher vibrations, the physical form could no longer exist in the lower vibrational plane. Because there is powerful pulling apart of energy going on right now between 3D and 5D, the physical form needs to ground into the physical to maintain a connection or a bridge or an anchor between 3D and 5D. Otherwise, a person holding 5D vibration would technically cease to exist in a 3D vibrational reality, and many in 3D would not be able to make the shift because it's those people who are able to maintain higher vibrational 5D energy who act as a bridge to help those in 3D to move and shift and transform over. The meditative practice shown to you, and I'll share this meditative practice at the end of this episode, and the information about the interwoven Merkabas are for people to connect and ground to the planet and physical reality of this overlapping 3D and 5D time while maintaining higher vibration. Essentially, the practice helps to ground a person into a higher vibrational physical plane while holding a higher vibrational physical form while staying connected to this shifting planet, which still includes the lower vibrational 3D. The Star of Merkaba will still exist in the interwoven web of your physical reality because it is a gateway into vibrational balance despite duality. And so it connects your physical form through the umbilical cord of the physical form, the umbilical cord being the center of that greater Merkaba that you exist within. So it connects your physical form to a higher vibrational, more balanced, collective, energetic web. So even in 5D, and even if you transition into a higher vibrational physical form, your umbilical cord still serves as a powerful anchor into your physical reality, your physical planet. It's just now being transformed as you transition from the 3D kaleidoscope field into the 5D kaleidoscope field. You're now anchoring and grounding into a new kaleidoscope field, into a new earth, essentially. And with that comes a new collective energetic web, or a new collective energetic mind as well. So you're tapped into now a new collective mind and not the old collective mind of 3D. Okay, so for those who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to put an image on the screen. And for those who are not listening on YouTube, I'll describe it here. What was shown to me is that the body, the physical form, is integrated within a greater Merkaba star. So if you hold out your arms and you stretch your legs open to kind of form a star, essentially, with your physical form, that is encompassed within a greater Merkaba star. And from there, each of the 6 points of the Merkaba star open into another Merkaba star, and essentially it creates this greater Merkaba web or kaleidoscope field that you exist within. And so there are pockets of these Merkaba stars that not only do you exist within one, but there are pockets of these Merkaba stars that exist all around you that you can tap into through these portals of the 6 points of the Merkaba star that you exist within. And I say 6 points because that would be in a 2-dimensional shape. In a 3-dimensional shape, there are more than 6 points, but there are 6 outer points. The 2 inner points both converge at the sacral umbilical cord center. So that essentially opens up the Merkaba star that you exist within. The energy that you're pulling in from the 6 outer Merkaba star points around the physical form is energy from a more balanced collective energy that keeps you divinely connected to the collective and your physical experience without disconnecting due to holding higher vibration on a lower vibrational planet. So you're not pulling energy in from the old collective energy that harbors fear and turmoil and duality, but you're pulling energy in from the new 5D collective energy, which opens love, balance, and oneness. Again, the Star of Merkaba is a gateway that connects the physical to a higher vibrational plane within the physical realm. And this is necessary if you desire to continue to have a physical experience through this shift into higher vibrations. Essentially, it is what retains your illusionary experience in 5D, but not illusionary as it was in 3D, in the lower vibrations, especially being stuck in those lower vibrations and seeing the illusion as something negative, but illusionary in 5D in regards to having a physical experience and enjoying life's pleasures in a physical form on a dimensional physical planet. Because again, as long as you're incarnated in a physical form, your reality is some sort of illusion. It is a creation, a manifestation of your vibration, of what you're holding. It's an experience, it's a playground. It's a web of energy for you to create. In 5D, your life force energy comes from a higher vibrational pool of energy, more in alignment with your divine inner being, and filters into the physical form through the pineal gland. So you activate it through your knowing that all is truly well, and through your shifting of consciousness. Your shifting of consciousness is like turning wheels of a cog to reveal a hidden doorway. The turning of wheels of a cog takes much effort, especially if they are rusted. But once the wheels turn to reveal the hidden doorway, you open a new world of understanding and life force energy that surpasses the physical energy held on your planet. So, many of you are already in the process of opening or have opened the new cord of the pineal, and that connects you to a 5D life force energy. But now, the real trick is the balancing of 5D physical and non-physical energy in the body, while the planetary collective still works through the lower vibrational energy of 3D. You are a bridge or a wormhole between the two, between 3D and 5D, and you must learn how to utilize your strengths of 5D in 3D, meaning you must learn how to finely tune your vibration to balance out the shifts on your 3D planet. Meaning, and this is really important, when you bring forth too much 5D energy, that strength of 5D will also strengthen the separation between 3D and 5D, not only for you and your experience, but for the collective reality that you co-create within your unique experience, making the splitting of energy much stronger in terms of how you are perceiving it in your own reality. But softening your 5D energy to slowly integrate and slowly fold into 3D is what will make the shift easier, softer, and more seamless for you in your experiencing of the unfolding. You are in a place of self-mastery for those of you shifting right now at this moment. You are calibrating, tempering, and acclimating the energy. When you put ice into hot liquid, it cracks. This is when you will feel the powerful effects in your physical reality. But when you work and mold the energy, much like slowly folding the flour into a cake batter, then the process is not as harsh or splitting. We are telling this to you as an individual because each individual on the planet, when you hold 5D energy, you have the power to create worlds. Do not underestimate your ability to manipulate or alchemize energy in your midst. Begin to notice the energy that you play with. When it's too strong, then the separation becomes stronger, and you may notice it in the playing out in your reality. When you soften your energy, you may notice the results soften in your reality. For example, forcing your family members to shift in beliefs will only meet you with resistance, but softening your energy and meeting them where they are will result in more progress than you will realize. The progress may be smaller and slower, but it's the path of least resistance in order to integrate the ice cube into the warmer and then hotter water to melt it without cracking. We are not saying do not be the full 5D powerful being and creator that you are, but we are saying that you are in a sensitive climate right now, and part of powerful self-mastery on your ascension journey is learning how much to pull, how much to push, when to soften, and when to strengthen. It is part of your co-creative experience on a planet that you share with many other souls, all going through their own journeys of expansion. You affect everyone when you are conscious, and you have the power to create the momentum and strength of your shift. Everyone will feel it differently, so it's not about lightworkers as a larger collective unit, but about individuals shifting in your own unique consciousness. And then as each individual works within their own unique consciousness, mastering the way that you shift, play with, and alchemize and transform and transmute energy, then each individual will come together as that larger unit of collective light workers, creating at an even larger scale, an even larger impact on the collective shifting experience. Again, micro and macro. So during this time, it's a powerful time for self-mastery, for you to go inward and understand how energy works within you, understand how your physical reality is responding to your energy. Gaia thanks you and honors your assistance. A wave of energy will be offered for lightworkers to fully integrate the meaning of this message on the festival of spring, or the March equinox. You are in a phase of learning what the wings are on your back. You have emerged from your cocoons. This transformation kicks off with this new moon on March 24th. And from now until the June solstice, or the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere, you are getting used to your new forms and taking in the new sights, tempering your energy, learning how to hone and tune and align your energy in this very sensitive climate, and everything we just spoke about. And then you will learn what it really means to fly. So for those of you listening to this on YouTube, I have on the screen this sort of quantum geometric field that consists of this web of Merkaba stars. I'll also post this illustration on my website at jessicadelmar.com/podcast. And as you can see, it also creates this sort of honeycomb effect in this geometric field in between the Merkaba stars. So it kind of adds to that kaleidoscope image, if you will, with the Merkaba stars and the honeycombs. And so it also connects me a lot to the bees and this honeycomb bee-like geometric hive, if you will. And we've spoken before about bees and the power that bees are bringing forth for 5D in terms of helping to spread light. I'll put a link in the notes to that video that I did about the bees and how they are basically spreading. They're like mini essences of the sun, and the sun is playing a huge role in our transition into 5D, and the bees are kind of like spreading the light of the sun. So I thought this was so appropriate in terms of them also helping to weave the new geometric field of 5D, which consists of these Merkaba stars and these honeycomb shapes. You might also recall that we did a video a little while ago about the 5D light meridian system, and this comes into play here because that 5D light meridian system that we brought forward was also very much about playing with this quantum field, this quantum geometric field upon which you create. But I want to reference that here because it's in alignment. It parallels this information. So the 5D light meridian system, not to overwhelm you too much, but this was based upon, and I was talking about how the flower of life is kind of like the backdrop upon which all the kaleidoscope images kind of are imprinted upon, if that makes sense. It's like the paint. For example, the paint needs a paper to exist. So this flower of life is kind of like the paper, and then all of these different geometric quantum fields are like the paint on top of the paper. And so going into this 5D light meridian system within the body, what came through is, even in this information, we spoke about how there are these Merkaba points within the body, but as I was asking kind of like, how does this connect to this greater geometric field, what came through is the information that came through in the 5D meridian system, with all of the geometric webs that were going on in the 5D meridian system, basically that is a micro of the greater macro that we're talking about with this Star of Merkaba geometric quantum field. So again, the way that I receive information, there's a lot of micro and macro, a lot of zooming in and zooming out. So 5D meridian system, we're looking at micro. If you think on a cellular level, we're thinking within the physical form. And then the Star of Merkaba geometric field or quantum field is on a greater macro level. If you think of your physical form, your physical body as a whole being one cell in the greater field that you exist within. And the 5D meridian system, we're looking at it in a micro sense, where now we're looking at the cells within your physical form. And that's basically what I wanted to address in the connection here in terms of diving micro and macro. Okay, so the practice that came through in terms of utilizing this Merkaba kaleidoscope field is to utilize all of the 6 outer points of the Merkaba to draw in energy of those pockets of energy that each Merkaba star holds. And this energy that you're drawing inwards helps you to connect more to your grounded physical experience, but in a higher vibrational, more balanced way, which is what the Merkaba star offers. So the first Merkaba point is the very top point in terms of the outer 6 points of the Merkaba star. The first point is above the crown. The second Merkaba point is at the left hand, with your arm extended. If you think of, put yourself again back into that starfish. So with your arms outstretched, your left hand and your arm extended opens into the second Merkaba star. The third Merkaba that you have access to is through the left foot and the extended left leg. The fourth Merkaba that you have access to is if you have your legs spread open in that starfish shape, it's right between your legs. So think if you had a tail, and this goes into a whole new thing with animals and their tails and what they have access to energetically through their tail. So if you think you have a tail and it goes straight down, that is your third or your fourth Merkaba access point below the root and very grounded into Gaia. And then your fifth Merkaba that you have access to is through the right leg and the right foot, extended and bringing in that energy through the right foot. And then the sixth Merkaba that you have access to is from your right hand and your right arm extended. Same like the illustration, you don't have to be super flexible to try to reach into these outer Merkaba points. Your limbs are an automatic extension of those surrounding Merkabas. So if you just open your body up and extend your arms and your legs, then you're just automatically kind of connected to these Merkaba points. It's all through your intention. And of course, there are the other points of access that meet at the sacral and umbilical center, but those points of the Merkaba open up your unique Merkaba field. So you're already kind of streamlining that energy in, but that doesn't necessarily need to be the only source of energy. Again, you now have access to these 6 other pockets of energy of Merkaba stars that are interwoven within your energetic field. So to access them, I created these meditative exercises, and this is an active meditation, an active practice that you will do standing up and really kind of opening yourself into that starfish position. You could also do this practice laying down and just open up yourself in that starfish position, but it won't be as active as what I have laid out in this practice. But you can just, if you want to just kind of bask in the energy and bring in all of the energy of all the 6 points, you can lay down, open your your arms and your legs in starfish and imagine pulling in the energy from each of those Merkabas that you are tapping into through your crown, your arms, your hands, your feet, your legs, and that root space. I have the illustrations for you to follow along. There are essentially 8 steps, but you're going to repeat these steps if you're doing the standing practice. So go ahead and download that practice. I'll put a link in the notes. You can do this just with your arms and your legs without using anything and just bring in the energy through your hands and your feet. Or you can use crystals. I like to hold my Super 7 crystal points in both of my palms and use that because you're using your hands to really draw in the energy to tap into each of the 6 points around your energetic field. But do what you intuitively feel called to do. If you want to use crystals, use something that you feel intuitively called to work with and enjoy the practice. And that's what needed to come through at this time regarding this Star of Merkaba, and really connecting to the energies going on the planet right now with that umbilical cord rising and releasing of collective historical energy of our past, our lineage, and embracing our new collective energy in 5D. Utilize this practice to help you shift and hold more grounding balance during this time when it may feel a little wobbly. And I hope that it helps and that it brings you more clarity and more high vibrational grounding. Thank you everyone again for being here and for listening in. Know that you are an extension of Source, having a physical experience. So in everything that you do with love, an open heart, and an open mind, and you'll realize the greater experiences held between the lines of your reality and now moment.